Ladies and gentlemen, very pleased and very privileged to have on the phone Don Powell. Don, how are you? You good?
I'm pretty good, thanks, Lee. Are you okay? How's the weather for you, mate?
Oh, the sun's just come out again, so it's lovely.
We got rain here, Lee.
Oh, no.
Yes, I know. Well, there you go.
Now, do you mind if I take you back just a little while?
Not at all, mate. You're far away.
Is it true that you first became interested in playing the drums in the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, that was it.
No.
Well, I think I was nearly 15, 14. At first, they wouldn't let me play the drums. I had to clean them first. I had to do my apprenticeship.
No.
And I'll tell you what, Lee, you reminded me a lot of you, mate. It's sort of my first pair of drumsticks I made from the stem of an artificial Christmas tree.
Oh, no,
I mean,
that's
I'll
incredible.
tell you what, I laboured over these things, I sandpapered them, I varnished them, everything. The first time I used them, they broke.
Oh, no.
Because I'm not known about wood or anything like that. Then I thought that's all you needed to do. I mean, I'll tell you, I nearly cried when they broke.
The first band that you were really involved in was the Vendors with Dave Hill. Is that right?
Well, it was two people, Johnny Howells and Mickey Marson first. There was just the three of us.
All right.
And we were just like sort of... Johnny, who was a singer, played a little bit of guitar. Mick played guitar, and there's me on drums. And we basically were playing weddings and youth clubs and pubs and things like that, Lendley. That's all it was. And then we had this guy who wanted to manage us, a guy named Chalky White. He wanted to manage us, and he said then, I think you need another guitarist. And it turned out to be Dave Hill.
Ah. And then
And that's how that started then.
and then Jim Lee joined you.
Well, we had another bass player first, a guy called Dave Jones, and then he wanted to get married and settle down, so we auditioned for a bass player, and I'll tell you what, that was a long, hard day, Lee. These people who think they can play and things like that. Yeah. But Jim Lee just shone above everybody else, so he was the one.
And then you spotted Noddy playing for Steve Brett and the Mavericks.
Well, that was way before, sort of thing.
Really?
The idea was for Dave and myself to do this, and when we just happened to bump into Nod in a coffee bar in Wolverhampton, and then we asked him, and he worked out. He just left the Steve Brett's band, so it was Steve Brett and the Mavericks then, and we said about joining and that kind of thing, and we the four of us. Dave Hill, myself, Jim Lee and Noddy Holder, we did an afternoon rehearsal in a pub room, literally just opposite where Nod lived with his mum and dad.
No. Really?
And I tell you what, the first song, I always remember this, Lee, the first song we played was Mr. Pitiful by Otis Redding.
Oh, love that.
Nod used to play with his band, and Dave and myself played it with our band, so we knew it, and Jim was quick to learn anyway. And I tell you what, Lee, it happened straight away. We just fell about laughing because it just worked straight away, and we just rolled through quite a few songs that we all knew together, sort of thing, and we were just killing ourselves laughing because it worked straight away.
How brilliant! That was the In-Betweeners. Then
In between, yeah.
Yeah. Then it became Ambrose Slade, and then of course
That's right.
It became Slade.
Yeah, well, how that came about, the guy at the record company who was giving us a chance, he hated the name The In-Between, so we did a competition with our then sort of fan club, and they come up with Ambrose Slade, so we changed that from The In-Betweens to Ambrose Slade, Lee, and then when we met Chas Chandler, he said we should just shorten the name and just use Slade, so we dropped the Ambrose, and that's when it became Slade.
Now, the one thing I didn't realise about Slade was you had a hand in writing a lot of the tracks, including a lot of the hits.
Well, the one hit was Look What You Done. They were my lyrics, and I wrote quite a few of the B-sides, lyric-wise anyway, cause, and quite a few stuff on the early albums, because Jim Lee and myself used to write together. I mean, I am totally tone deaf, Lee, so Jim Lee was very patient with me when I was trying to sort of put my ideas across, trying to sing what the ideas that I had. You know, I mean, I'm okay at not writing lyrics, but singing is not my best sort of hobby, so to speak.
Now, Slade were huge. I mean, I went to see Slade in Cheltenham. They were absolutely, absolutely massive. I love that band.
Wow, fantastic.
In fact, I've still got a couple of the albums, on vinyl, would you believe?
Right. I'll tell you what, you think about how the vinyl's coming back in it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
When you went on stage, I mean, you guys just seemed as though you were out there for a laugh. You were having fun. Was that the case?
Yes, very much so. We always say, because we were doing a lot of shows, in those days we did a lot of university gigs where a lot of the time they had like about 10 bands on.
Yeah.
And there was all these sort of like so-called underground things, and they're all just standing there with their heads down playing, not even talking to the audience. And we made a vow then between the four of us that we would never be like that. We said we want to sort of entertain or show the audience that we're having a great time as well, So I mean, and that's it stayed like that for forever, really, Lee.
Yeah. The one thing I've got to mention one more thing about Slade, and that is they were a live band. I mean, when you saw them live, it was just impact. As I say, the stage show was brilliant, but you got that feeling that yes, this is what we do. Yes. Is that something you worked on?
It was purposely done like that, Lee. Sort of that was it. We were a live band, and and that's what we put across. So that was our main thing then, that we worked on that. We wanted to give the crowd a great time. I mean, we were having fun on stage, and we wanted the crowd to come with us with that.
Yeah, it certainly worked for me anyway. Most of the people I know in Cheltenham, it was amazing. You also got involved in a band with Susie Quattro.
Yeah, that was how that came about, Lee. It was like Andy Scott with his lineup of Suite, Susie Quattro with her band, and the Slade I was with Dave Hill. We did a big concert together in Germany, and it was Susie, Andy, and myself just sitting round in the bar after the gig in the hotel, and we were just sitting there talking, just reminiscing. And it was Andy Scott who said, now this will make a good band. And we said, yeah, actually, that sounds good. And we never thought anything of it. And then Susie's husband, the German promoter, Rainer, he contacted me and he mentioned about it again. I said, yeah. And we just got together actually what we did, we did this all at Peter Gabriel's studio down the southwest coast. And that he was working so well, and that's when we recorded the album there, Lee.
Wow, that's incredible, isn't it? Now, the book you wrote, Look What I'd Done, My Life in Slade, spelt D-U-M, which I love, Carry On Slade, that included some incredible stories, things like booze-ups with Ozzy.
Oh, yes. I mean, some of those were lost days, though, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean... I'll tell you, when I stopped drinking, that was because Sharon, his wife Sharon, came after us both with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And how we came about that, Lee, we've been in the wine bar, we've been kicked out the wine bar, and we bought some booze to go back to the house, and we walked up the driveway, and Sharon comes out the bedroom window with a shotgun. The bottles went in the air, and we just ran down the drive, and she let the shotgun go and blasted all the side of a brand new BMW they just had delivered. And the last thing I remember was Ozzy running in the house, and you could hear them fighting in the bedroom. I went home, and I haven't drunk since.
I'm not surprised. That would stop you drinking.
I will say one thing: if it wasn't for Sharon, I think Ozzy would have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah. You've had such an incredible career, involved in different bands and different things going on, and even acting on TV. Do you still get a buzz when you go on stage?
Very much so, Lee. I've always said as soon as I lose that, I will stop.
Right.
As soon as I lose the fun and that enjoyment, I will not do it anymore. To me, that's the most important thing, is having fun going on stage, sort of thing. Like I've just said, as soon as that stops, I will get out.
Then we come to what's happening now, which is Don and the Dreamers. Far, Far Away. Now, I love that track. Why did you choose that one?
Actually, that's my favourite Slade song as well.
So is that why you chose to cover that one?
Well, nobody was. That was Henrik, the musical director of Don and the Dreamers. It was his idea, and I said, actually, that's a good choice, because that is my favourite Slade track. And it worked out great. We worked on the arrangement, and we actually recorded it really quickly, Lee.
And yet it sounds as though, it's really polished and all perfect and everything. It's a really good track. I really like it.
No, I'm really pleased with it, mate. As I said, it went down really quickly, and we all looked at it and we thought, yes, that's the one. That's the one. It's worked.
Do you intend making an album and sort of doing the whole business?
We more or less have finished an album, Lee. It's more or less all done.
Brilliant.
Sort of thing. I mean, there's just a few niggly little things to sort out, just like with the mixing or whatever. But basically, it's there.
And what about a tour? You going out on the road with the album?
There's nothing planned at the moment, but it looks like that's the way it'll go. But there's we want to sort of get the release sorted out and get promotion done, as everything like that, Lee. Yeah. And then that'll be next on the cards.
Now you see, the thing that always fascinated me about Slade, and also the four guys, you were as big throughout Europe, throughout the Japan and places like that, as you were in England. Do you still have that following? Because I know you live in Denmark now.
Yes, I do. I mean, it's still the same over here. I mean, when Andy Scott, Susie Quattro, and myself toured Australia a few years ago, it was still there, because when we first got there in 73, Lee, Slade Alive was the biggest album there. It was outselling everything, the Beatles and Pink Floyd and everybody, and it was incredible. And when I went back there, it was about 2 years ago, Andy Scott, Susie, and myself toured there with our album, and people were still shouting songs from Slade Alive.
No, I'm not surprised, because that is an awesome album.
I'll tell you what, Lee, of all the albums we've released, no matter where we go in the world, that's the one album they always talk about, Slade Alive.
Yeah, even the image on the cover. Yeah, it was.
I mean, that was taken. That shot, when you open the sleeve out, that shot was on us on stage at the Marquee Club in London.
Goodness. But that whole image, that you just look at and you think, yeah, that's Slade. That's what they're about. That's Slade.
Well, I think that you hit it on the head there, Leo. I mean, people knew exactly what they were getting when they came to see a Slade show.
Yeah. I mean, even on Top of the Pops, when, okay, you were miming maybe sometimes, but you still got that impression, that, yeah, that's Slade. Nobody else could do what you guys were doing, and that's something that always impressed me.
I think, it was more or less like Noddy Holder, Jim Lee and Dave Hill down the front. I used to sit at the back and killing myself laughing at them. But but we said, it was a policy that we had, Lee, that we would never sort of go on stage with our heads down or our backs to the audience or anything like that. It was a policy that we carried on all the way through our career, mate.
And the clothes, the style, the image. If
I told you that Dave Hill was colourblind, do you think that would make sense?
Yeah, okay, I understand a lot now.
But I mean, that was a semi-amateur part of it. It was just like a showbiz thing, just sort of like we did the same again. We didn't want to do. We wouldn't go on with just jeans and t-shirt or anything like that, It was just. just the flamboyance of it all, really. Just been, we just out to, not to shock, but to, well, probably Dave Hill went out to shock, but,
Yes.
but no, I mean, he was just, in a way, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, Lee.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we are coming round to that time of year when Merry Christmas, Everybody is going to be back in the charts.
You mean that record?
That record, yes.
I always say, we've had 24 hits, right? 6 number ones, and people only ever remember that song. I mean, it's incredible. And, when we recorded that, we were on a world tour, and we just finished a 12-week tour in the States. We had a week off in New York before we went on to Australia and Japan. And it was Chaz who was producing our records there, said to Nod and Jim, have you got anything while we're here, And I said, well, we've got this Christmas song. Anyway, he played it, they played it to Chaz, and we said, in the studio, and we went in, and there was like a 100-degree temperature outside in New York. It was in the summer, and there we were singing that song, as we call it, sort of thing. And but when we finished it, Lee, we didn't want to release it. Don't ask me why, but
Really?
it's one of those things. We were a bit uncertain, and gladly Chas said to us, I don't care what you lot say, this is coming out.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
Look, it's been an absolute blast talking with you. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it,
I've
Don.
loved this, Lee. Let's keep in touch, we can do more. I've loved it, mate. Thanks a lot for calling.
No, absolute pleasure. All the best with
Thank
Far,
you.
Far Away.
Thanks a lot, Lee. If I don't speak before, have a great Christmas, eh?
And you, mate. Take it easy.
Take care, Lee.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, Don.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.